What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my quick predictions and bets for UFC Brasilia. Alright, we got another fight card this week. Really looking forward to it. Before I start the video, though, if you guys can leave a like, also subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd really appreciate that. Really growing my channel over the past couple of weeks, so thank you guys for that. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. Coming off of a very, very good card for me last week, the second most profitable week of the year for me. Had a hefty parlay on Adesanya, Vieira, and O'Malley. Another hefty parlay on Vieira, O'Malley, and Madsen. And then had an underdog bet of Gerald Meerschaert cash. Can't believe he knocked him out, by the way. And then my fourth bet was Jamal Emmers. I thought he won that fight, but judges saw it otherwise. So it would have been 4-0 if Emmers went my way, but that's just how it is. And still a very, very profitable tonight. Hopefully you guys did good as well. I do think there's some good betting opportunities on this card as well. I'll get into them as we go along with the breakdown, and then also a betting breakdown at the end of the video as well. So yeah, hopefully we keep the momentum going from last week into this week, and get another good a night in there. So let's start with the first fight of the night. You got Veronica Macedo versus Bay Malecki. Macedo is a -170 favorite, and Malecki is a +150 underdog. Honestly, I don't really think this line. I think this line should be a little bit closer. Malecki has a 10-inch reach advantage. She has like a 4 or 5-inch height advantage. I think the size difference is going to be crazy. We saw Macedo win her last fight against Polyana Viana, submitting her in the first round. I don't want to say that was a fluke submission, but honestly, it was probably a fluke submission. We saw Malecki also submit her opponent her last time, but I don't think Malecki is going to submit Macedo or anything like that. If anything, I'm worried about Macedo coming out here, taking Malecki down, which is possible, and possibly submitting her. But I just think Malecki's going to use that range and that reach just to pick apart Macedo all 3 rounds. If she can stuff those takedowns, I think she'll have no problem winning on the feet no matter what. It's just, can Macedo take Malecki down, and maybe control her, even submit Malecki. Macedo is a pretty good BJJ black belt, but and Malecki doesn't have that BJJ experience. But I'm going to go with Malecki here. I'm going to go with the girl with the 10-inch reach advantage, which is just insane. I think she's going to stuff those takedowns, pick apart Macedo from the feet. I just don't think Macedo's that good. Before she won her last fight, she lost 3 in a row. Don't think either girl's good, but I'm going to go with the underdog here, Malecki, +150. Don't know if I'm going to bet it yet. If it gets wider, I'll definitely look at it, but right now it's going to be a pass for me. But give me Malecki by decision. Bueno Silva versus David Dvorak. Dvorak, very good prospect. Watch tape on him. He's a finisher. Lots of finishes on his record. I believe he's finished 88% of his fights. Kid looks good. He hits very hard. Looks big for the weight class as well. So I think Silva's going to have a tough time taking him down. And if this does play out on the feet, which I do think it will at probably most points, I think Silva's in trouble. We've seen Silva hurt before. We've seen Silva dropped and submitted. We've seen Silva knocked out 2 or 3 times before in his career. So Dvorak is a finisher. That's what he does. So I think Dvorak's going to come in here and finish Bueno Silva. But Bueno Silva needs to come out here and try to get takedowns. If he can't get takedowns, he could be in trouble. Silva is from Brazil, so if this is a decision, he won't have that crowd behind him. I think Dvorak's going to win. I think that's going to be by finish. Give me a first-round finish here. I think he's going to kind of come in here and finish Silva in the first round. All right, next fight we got Maria Bueno Silva versus Marina Moroz. You got Silva here at -150 favorite, and you got Moroz a +130 underdog. Silva's a very, very good at BJJ. Moroz, what is she good at? I guess standing from the outside and picking apart her opponent. Silva has more power. She can land the harder shots. I think, I don't really understand this line. Silva only -150. I mean, looking at the tape, I think Silva should be probably more towards like -200. I think Silva will have no problem taking Moroz down and possibly even submitting her. Silva's BJJ is extremely good, and I think she's even better on the feet. She hits harder. I think she's going to land those harder shots. Silva is from Brazil here. Moroz could try to stay at range and try to pick Silva apart, but I think Silva's going to definitely get in there and land those hard shots. And I think she's going to take her down, and I think she's going to get a submission. Silva has finished 80% of her fights, and 68% of them being by submission, so I think she's going to get another one here. Not too high on Moroz at all. I do think this Silva girl is pretty good, so give me Silva by submission. Definitely really interested in betting that minus 150, but not going to at the moment. That line just seems a little bit off. I think the line could be a little bit wider, but I could understand why. I mean, the experience of Moroz, but I do think Silva's going to get the submission. All right, this fight is going to be good and exciting. Rani Yahya versus Enrique Barzola. Barzola is moving down a weight class. You saw him at the weight class he was at before. He looked a little undersized, but now I think he's going to be looking pretty big here against Yahya. This fight is kind of tough to tell. I mean, Barzola is a very, very good wrestler, extremely strong. Is he going to come out here and try to take down Ronnie, or is he going to stand and bang with him, which would be the smart thing in my opinion? Ronnie has 20 submissions on his record and his 26 wins, which is absolutely insane. This is tough to call because if Barzola comes out here and takes down Yahya, I could possibly see him getting submitted. So that's why I was leaning Yahya at first. But just looking over it a little bit more, I think Barzola is going to come in here with a good game plan. We've seen his past fight with Aguilar where he did not try to get takedowns for a while. He ended up not trying for a takedown in like the second round. And didn't even get it, I don't think. And I think that's going to be kind of the game plan here, just try to stand with him. And then in that third round against Aguilar, he really turned it on, and it looked like he hurt Aguilar at some points. And he looked really good on the feet in that third round, but he didn't really let it go until the third round. But for Yanni here, I mean, if he gets on the ground, if he's able to take down Barzola, he's probably going to get a submission locked in. Or if Barzola shoots on him, maybe he can lock up a submission off his back. But I'm going to go with Barzola here. I think he's going to come here with a smart game plan. I don't think Rani Yahya is going to be able to take Barzola down. Barzola is extremely, extremely strong. So if he comes up here with a good game plan, keeps us on the feet, stuffs those takedowns from Yahya if they come, I see no reason why he can't win this fight. But you got to come in here with a good game plan. Just know that Rani Yahya's only path to victory is going to be by submission. Yahya's never been finished, I don't believe, but I do think it can possibly happen here. But give me a decision, a dominating decision by Barzola here. I think even if he wanted to go for takedowns, I think he can get him. He just got to be very careful on the ground. Don't be surprised if Barzola goes for a takedown and he gets submitted. But I'm guessing he doesn't come in here with a good game plan, stuff the takedowns, and just beat Yahya up on the feet. Barzola has a lot of power. I think that power is going to be even bigger at this weight class. So yeah, give me Barzola by decision. All right, Malecki dos Santos versus Konchako. So Konchako is 20-1. He just lost his last fight against Burns. So before that, he was 20-0. Just looking at the odds here, Dos Santos minus 125 favorite, Konchako plus 105 underdog. This fight's pretty close. I think the guy better on the feet is Dos Santos. Konchako is probably better in the clinch, probably the more stronger fighter. I think this fight is going to stay on the feet the whole time. I think Dos Santos is the more dangerous fighter, though. Not sure of the number, but I think Dos Santos has finished probably near like 60 to 80% of his fights, and then Konchako's finished probably like a lot less than that, like 40 to 50% of his fights. So Konchako isn't really a finisher. He's more of a point fighter. He knows how to win fights, a decision fighter. But I think Dos Santos is the more dangerous fighter. I think he is better on the feet. I think he can land those harder shots, the more better looking shots, the spinning kicks, the more exciting shots. I think he's going to come in here and get a decision and even possibly a knockout. This is a tough fight for him, though. Both of these guys are pretty good fighters. I mean, both of this fight's very close. It could honestly go either way, but I'm going to go with the more dangerous fighter, the more flashy fighter, and Dos Santos. I do think it's going to be on the feet the whole time, and I think Dos Santos is probably going to land more and land the harder shots and the better shots. So give me Dos Santos. I'm going to pick him win by decision, but don't be surprised if there is a finish there by Dos Santos. Amanda Ribas versus Randall Marcos. I got no picture there for Ribas, but Coming into this fight, I was like, before looking at the odds, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to bet Amanda Ribas. She should roll here. And then when I saw the odds, I was a little bit disappointed. Ribas minus 135 favorite. Marcos is a plus 275 underdog. I was very surprised at those odds. I mean, I wanted to bet Ribas, but definitely not at those odds. Maybe in a parlay, but I think Ribas rolls here. I mean, she's been looking extremely good. We know the story of Marcos. She's pretty strong, but I think Ribas is going to be stronger here, and I do think Ribas can even get takedowns on Marcos, and Ribas does have good BJJ, as does Marcos, but I just think Ribas is the stronger, the better fighter. On the feet, it's not even close. It's Ribas all day. Honestly, I think Ribas is better anywhere, so that minus 335, I think it is a little bit wide, but I do think it is a little bit warranted, but we know with Marcos, she does not win 2 fights in a row. I believe it's been like 8 to 10 fights now where it's been like loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. And then she did just win her last fight. So she's projected to lose this fight. So just going off of that, I mean, she's probably going to lose. But all jokes aside, I do think Ribas is going to win here. And I am pretty confident in that. And definitely looking at parlaying that. That minus 335 was something later on the card, which I'll get to, but would be very extremely surprised if Marcos came out here and won. I think I don't know. I couldn't see a path to victory. Maybe submitting Ribas, but even that's pretty hard to see. All right, Jussier Formiga versus Brandon Moreno. I see a lot of dog money coming in on Brandon Moreno. A lot of love for Moreno on Twitter and whatnot. But Moreno is a plus 130 underdog, and Formiga is a minus 150 favorite. So wow. More money than I thought is coming in on Moreno. And honestly, I can see why. It's just, man, I mean, this fight is extremely tough to call. Moreno definitely given the advantage on the feet, but the ground advantage goes to Formiga. We saw what Formiga did to Davis and Figueiredo, held him on the ground for 3 rounds, won decision that way. And just looking at it at first, I thought, yeah, I like Moreno. I'm probably going to bet Moreno, but just looking more into it, we've seen Moreno taken down plenty of times. We saw him taken down 4 times by Askar Askarov. Not a good sign at all. If Askarov can take him down, I think Formiga can take him down. Moreno tends to give up his back when he tries to get up, and I think if he does that here against the backpacker and Jussier Formiga, I think he's in a world of trouble. Formiga has won about 60% of his fights by submission. I don't think he has a knockout on his record, maybe one. Moreno's not much of a finisher either. I think it's just going to go to decision. Formiga is from Brazil, but like I said, there's not going to be those fans there. If those fans are there, I'd be a lot more confident in Formiga winning this decision. But I think Formiga is going to get him down. And I think Moreno's probably going to make a mistake, maybe give his back. I don't really think he's going to submit him, but I think it could get a little dicey there. I think Formiga has very good top pressure, but Moreno is a very good scrambler, so I can see him getting him back up. But if Formiga comes in here with a grappling-heavy game plan, I do think Formiga can win. Like I said, I saw a lot of dog money coming in on Moreno, and I do understand it. He is the way better fighter on the feet, but I just got to go with Formiga here. I'm going to go with my gut. I think he's going to get those takedowns and definitely hold Moreno down at points, maybe land multiple takedowns. If Askarov's taken Moreno down 4 times, and I do think Formiga can as well. Moreno has made improvements, but Formiga is on a pretty good wrestling grappler. So give me Formiga to win this fight, but I'm not mad at those bets on Brandon Moreno at all. I think this fight could be probably a line closer to a pick'em, but other than that, I'm going to go with Formiga. Now, if it does become a pick'em, I will be interested in maybe even betting for me because I do honestly like his chances of winning. All right, here we go. Another fight, another Brazilian here. Francisco Trinaldo versus John Makdessi. You got Trinaldo minus 155, John Makdessi 135. It's just funny how all the money's coming in on the non-Brazilians here. Trinaldo was like minus 170, I think, minus 180, but now he's down to minus 155. That's because they're not going to have that crowd there, but wow. That line is very interesting on Trinaldo, minus 155. I do think Trinaldo is going to win here. Makdessi is going to bring that volume. I can see why people are bringing the underdog money in on Makdessi. He's going to bring that volume, and Trinaldo does not have the best volume, but Trinaldo is going to land the harder shots. Makdessi's not going to hurt Trinaldo or anything. Makdessi's not a finisher. Trinaldo is. We have seen Makdessi knocked out plenty of times. We've seen him hurt as well. So I do think Trinaldo is going to knock him out here. I'm just going to say that right now. I think he's going to knock him out. And even if it goes to decision, I think he can win a decision as well. Trinaldo is like 41 years old, but he's been looking pretty good. He looked good his last fight against Bobby Green. He looked good his fight before that against Alexander Hernandez. I like Trinaldo quite a bit here. I think he's on a whole nother level than Makdessi. I just don't think Makdessi's that good. But I actually really like that line of Trinaldo minus 155. Maybe it gets even closer than that. I will definitely look at taking a bet on that. All right, now we have, oh wow, what a fight we have here. Johnny Walker versus Nikita Krylov. Honestly, it's probably going to be fight of the night. This fight is like minus 500 not to go to decision. Krylov has finished all of his wins. I think Walker has finished all of his wins, but like a couple, maybe I think it was one. There was one win where he didn't finish, where he went to decision. So combined, these guys have went to decision one time and won. So this fight's kind of tough to call. I think someone's getting finished, obviously, and I think it's probably going to be in the first round. But we've seen Walker knocked out. I think he's been knocked out 3 or 4 times now. I'm going to say 3 times, and then Krylov has been knocked out once, and that's for sure. And the other times he's been submitted. I just don't think Walker's going to submit Krylov, obviously. And man, this fight's tough. But when Walker lost his last fight, he's talking about wanting to leave the UFC, and that's just not a good sign. He did move camps. But he was putting all the blame on other people, on his camp, on other people, and just not taking blame for himself. So I do not like that sign. He did move camps, but I don't know. He seems a little chinny to me. When you're getting knocked out by Corey Anderson, I think you have to be like a little bit chinny. Like that's his 3rd time knocked out. Krylov's been knocked out once. I think Krylov's the more durable guy. If Krylov comes in here with the right game plan, I do think Krylov can win this fight with wrestling. I think he can take Walker down if he tries to. If it stays on the feet, I do think Walker definitely has a great chance to win this fight and get that knockout. But I'm going to go with Krylov here. I think he's going to take down Walker and get him out of there. I think Walker's going to quit. And get knocked out with some ground and pound on the ground. Just hopefully Krylov comes out here with a good game plan of taking Walker down. If he stands with Walker, I think he can hold his own. But I mean, I just that range of Walker and that flying knee, those flying knees are something I'm really worried about. But if Krylov comes in here and tries to take him down, I think he should definitely get this finish here. If it does get out of the first round, I'll be very concerned for Krylov. I think Walker can definitely, if Walker isn't winning by then, I think he'll definitely take over and get that finish in the second round. Krylov does not have a gas tank, so I'm going to go with Krylov with a first round ground and pound victory there. But I mean, I'm not really counting out Johnny Walker, but I'm going to go with Krylov. But it is a very close fight. As for betting this fight, you should just parlay the fight does not go to decision. I think it's like close to minus 500. Parlay that in there with like Amanda Ribas or somebody up here on the card I'll get to in a second. But all right, give me Krylov. All right, next fight, Renato Moicano versus Damir Hadzovic. Moicano is moving up a weight class here. Moicano has fought the far and better competition here. We saw Hadzovic get dominated by Christoph Giagos his last fight, which was absolutely insane. He got dominated. If you're getting dominated by Giagos, you're not going to do well against Moicano. So this line of minus 335 I do think is warranted. It's just, can we trust Moicano's chin? Hadzovic does hit very hard. I think he has finishes 68% of his fights by knockout. If Moicano's chin holds up, I don't see why he's going to lose this fight. I think he's better everywhere besides those chin problems. We saw him knocked out 2 times in a row. But yeah, I'm going to go with Moicano here. I think he can take Hadzovic down and possibly even submit him. Moicano doesn't have many finishes on his record that are knockouts, but he has finished about 50% of his fights, so I do think he could get that submission. Definitely a parlay piece for me. Moicano minus 335. Wish it would be a little bit closer than that, but something I'll be looking to parlay with like a Ribas or a fight does not go to decision. But yeah, give me Moicano. I'm pretty confident in that as long as he doesn't get knocked out. I think he'll be fine. All right, Damian Maia versus Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, can't talk. You got Damian Maia plus 150 and Gilbert Burns minus 170. At first I was like, I like Burns all day. Burns is going to dominate this fight. And then after looking into it more, I'm pretty worried about Gilbert Burns here. There's no reason he should lose this fight. I mean, there's no reason. Keep it on the feet the whole time. Pick Maia apart. You can even hurt Maia. Gilbert Burns is far and away better than Maia on the feet. It's just Gilbert Burns is coming out here saying he wants to submit Demian Maia. He's saying he wants to grapple with Demian Maia. He's saying in interviews he wants to go to the ground with Demian Maia, and it's 100%. He's 100% going to go to the ground with Demian Maia. Burns has very good BJJ, but Maia's on a whole other level of BJJ. And if Burns goes to the ground with Demian Maia, I'm very, very concerned for Gilbert Burns here. So I suggest he does not do that. But in all his interviews, he's saying he wants to grapple with Demian Maia. He wants to prove that he's better than Demian Maia everywhere. And I just think that's a horrible idea. Gilbert Burns should no way lose this fight if he keeps us on the feet. But I think he's going to try to do something dumb like grapple with Maia. And if he does that, I do think he's possibly going to get submitted. I'm not saying Burns isn't good at BJJ. I'm just saying Maia's on a whole different level. So that plus 150 on Demian Maia looks like some money is coming in on him. I am looking at playing that. Maybe playing him by submission. Gonna have to look at the odds on that by submission. But I think Maia can possibly take his back at some point. I think Gilbert Burns could be in trouble if he comes out there with that game plan. You know what? I'm gonna take Burns' word for it. He said he's 100% going to go to the ground with Maia. So I think that's what's gonna happen. And I do think Maia's honestly is gonna come out here and try to get Burns to the ground. And I think he can as well. So with that said, I do think Maia is going to win by submission. Probably the bold take on the card for me. I think the majority of people are going to be on Burns, but that's kind of the bold take from me for this card. All right, the main event, Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira. Kevin Lee is minus 140 favorite. Charles Oliveira is plus 120 underdog. Looks like a little bit of money's coming in on Lee. When I first saw the line for this fight, I was kind of surprised because I did think there's going to be a lot of hype around Charles Oliveira. But to see Kevin Lee as underdog was very interesting. It's not like I don't disagree with that line because I do agree with that line. It's just the level of competition is absolutely insane. Kevin Lee has fought the way better people by far. It's not even close. I do worry for Charles Oliveira. Kevin Lee is extremely good on the feet, and Oliveira is good on the feet. He's definitely been improving, but I do think Kevin Lee's better on the feet. Kevin Lee has that wrestling background. I think he can take down Oliveira probably easily. It's just the thing that worries me with picking Kevin Lee here, in which I am. The thing that worries me about Charles Oliveira's submission game, he submits a lot of opponents. I forget what the exact numbers are, but he wins by submission a lot of times. I have to check it, but yeah, Oliveira is very, very dangerous on the ground. But I think people are sleeping on Lee's BJJ as well. Lee is very good at BJJ as well. Charles Oliveira has finished 93% of his fights, and he's finished 64% of them by submission. So, yeah, Oliveira is extremely dangerous. I don't think this fight's going to go to decision. I think it's like minus 350, something like that. Fight does not go to decision. I'm going to go with Lee, though. I think he's going to take him down. And that first round, I think Lee can win in that first round, and that's the round he's going to do it. If Oliveira can get out of that second round, I think Oliveira can maybe take over. Lee doesn't have the best gas tank, but that first round, Lee always comes out extremely good, and I think the first round is where this fight's probably going to end, and I'm going to go with Kevin Lee. I think he's going to take down Oliveira and get a TKO victory. But that submission game by Oliveira does worry me. But I think Lee will be fine, especially in that first round. Lee extremely good in the first round, and I think that's where the fight's going to end. So give me Kevin Lee. Originally, I did not think I was going to be picking Kevin Lee. Originally, I thought I was going to be all over Oliveira, but after watching film and everything, just digging in more, I definitely think Lee should be the favorite, and definitely think that I do think he's going to beat Oliveira, but it is a very close fight. All right, guys, that's about it. I'm going to quickly go into the betting breakdown here. Let's see. So the first fight, Malecki plus 150. I am looking at that, but I am looking for it to get a little bit wider than that. If it gets closer to like plus 170, plus 175, definitely might take a shot on that. I think this fight should be probably lined up a little bit closer. Bueno Silva, Dvorak, not really looking at betting that. Barzola minus 190. I mean, if that comes down a little bit, that's a little too wide for me. Dos Santos, not really interested. Amanda Ribas, minus 335. I'm looking at pairing that with Moicano also, and then also pairing that with a Charles Oliveira Lee fight does not go to decision. I think you could possibly get plus money with that. And that's a crazy good parlay. So, or you can parlay Amanda Ribas, Moicano, and then Walker Krylov fight is not good decision, or even parlay all four. Definitely get plus money on that. I think those are very good bets. I think those are going to be my parlays that I use for this week. Had successful parlays last week, and those are what I'm probably going to this week. Moreno plus 130, not too interested. If it got a little bit wider, maybe look at it. Trinaldo minus 155, I am going to probably bet that. I think it's even going to get closer than that for some reason. If it does, I'll be all over that. Krylov Walker, I'm probably bet the fight does not go to decision in a parlay. Moicano, going to put him in a parlay. And then Maia, probably going to take a shot on Maia as an underdog, and then possibly do a submission prop for Maia as well. And then Oliveira Lee, probably just going to stay away from that and just parlay the fight does not go to decision. All right, guys, hopefully it's another good week for betting. Really looking forward to this card. I feel like I have a lot of a good, strong, feeling for this card, and I think it's going to go very good. There's not going to be a crowd, so it's going to be exciting how it plays out. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. Also, subscribe if you haven't yet. I really appreciate that. Trying to grow my channel. I really do appreciate all the support. And make sure you guys look out for my DraftKings video for MMA. I know there's not going to be NBA anymore. No more MLB, no more hockey. So if you guys want something to do for DraftKings, MMA is there, so check that out. And good luck with everything this week, and see you.